What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're talking about another classic Tom Cruise film that I haven't seen until now. It's Top Gun. So people might be wondering how I've lived my life without seeing this film, and that's fair. I'm sure it's a mixture of things, like how it was before my time, it's in the ballpark of war films that for most of my life never interested me to see. Whatever. I don't know why I haven't seen it until now, because it is without a doubt something that people still talk about to this day, hence a sequel is supposed to be made later this year, but whoever knows about that. So let's watch these men perform a cavalcade together, and let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, cavalcade, a formal procession of people walking on horseback or riding in vehicles. Top Gun refers to a military flight school famous for training their top pilots in dogfighting, and Tom Cruise's character Maverick is their newest recruit. And he has a penchant for flying dangerously, which sometimes gets him into trouble with authority figures. He wants two things: to win Top Gun, and to woo a female instructor who he thinks is just the bee's knees. I'll say what I said on Twitter while watching this film. It's gotta be the 80s film that I've ever seen. That almost 100% has to do with the music choices in this film, where the film almost obviously attempts to be a corny 80s music video on MTV at times. There's definitely two songs you'll remember in this film and a theme song towards the end that's pretty decent. The two songs are Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away, and you recognize them both because they play each song 4 times minimum. For instance, they start the song, play about 10 to 15 seconds of it, and then they stop it. A few minutes later, they do the same thing again. You really notice it with Take My Breath Away. Dun, 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 dun. And I can't stop but laugh every single time they start the song. Dun, 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 dun. I have to ask myself, again? But that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It might be a little bit cheesy looking back, but I like 80s films. Plus, I feel like they knew exactly what they wanted to be, and it was just, that's not a bad thing. That's why even though I laughed at their use of music, I also dug it because it fit the film really well. I have a feeling that when people think about Top Gun, the music is partially what comes to mind, and that's A-okay in my book. Dun, 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 dun. I also want to point out that I haven't seen many films like this, so it certainly feels original. What about the story? Well, in general, it's about a man trying to come out on top in a flight school and woo the woman of his dreams. But I think the most important element of this film is human connection. There's a strong sense of teamwork, of friendship, family, and romantic love. It's actually pretty impressive to me because the theme of human connection is a grounded construct. In the midst of everything going on in the sky, it's that human connection that grounds these people and fuels their drive to continue on. It makes sense to me as to how the success of this film had people enlist, because a part of that chemistry that everybody has makes this film feel influential and inspiring. Dun, 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 dun. It is telling people that they can not only make a difference, but they can have fun doing it at the same time. While I have you for the positives, I want to add that there's a fantastic sense of visuals and cinematography here, especially the flight sequences themselves, which do a great job luring you into the action and holding you there for the entirety. And Tom Cruise really excels in this role, Maverick, someone who may live and work dangerously but is creative in his problem solving, which makes his character stand out against every other pilot in the program. This truly is a great example of why Tom Cruise became famous in the first place, in my opinion. But did you think that we could avoid negatives? Because they exist. Surprisingly though, I don't have a lot of issues with the movie. I only really have one, and that's kind of what they're training for, and specifically the climactic action scene in the film, which has a lot of planes flying around, shooting each other, but it happens so quick and without much exposition as to why it's all happening in the first place, who's involved, why it's so serious. I didn't get it, and I wish there was just a little bit more explanation as to what the heck is going on. But honestly, that's really the only complaint I've got, because this movie pretty much did exactly what it set out to do and knew exactly what it wanted to be, and that deserves props. I mean, I think it's good, even though I don't consider myself to be in the target audience. Let's talk about the final score for a second, which splits everything into an unbiased and biased score before averaging everything together for an overall score. For Top Gun, my bias agrees with my unbiased score because it's equal in its exciting elements as well as technical areas, and both of those scores are at 88%, averaging everything together, obviously, to 88%, 88 out of 100 possible stars. gives this film a B+ letter grade. Here's a good factoid for you. I recently watched and reviewed Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which got the same biased and unbiased score of 88%. So, as weird as it is and how unlike these two movies are, I felt the same about both of them. Factoid! Now I would like to hear what you have to say about Top Gun in the comments down below. Is this one of Tom Cruise's best classic roles? And if not, what would you contribute that to? Let me know. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review, would like to see some more. Like it, hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel. And don't forget about the little bell icon because that'll help notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!